Welcome back to In Focus. We now turn our attention over to New York City as violent crime continues to run rampant in the Big Apple. Now, one specific instance is garnering national attention, as it is the exact reason why crime is skyrocketing across the country. And that is because of radical, woke DAs. In this case, we're talking about Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. If you haven't heard, he's trying to charge a bodega worker with murder after the worker fatally stabbed a man in self-defense last week. Bodega clerk Jose Alba was working at the Blue Moon convenience store when a violent ex-con apparently got upset over a bag of chips, went behind his counter, and began to relentlessly attack him. You can see the footage. Alba ended up getting a knife, fighting back, and killing the guy. But in today's backward society, he's the one who could be facing punishment. Yes, today you can be charged with murder potentially for defending yourself against an assailant, even if it's all caught on camera and it shows you being attacked and defending yourself. Luckily, Alba was able to be released on bail after it was finally lowered from the original $250,000 amount, which is only half of what the DA's office had requested, by the way. Now, we wait for prosecutors to present the case to a grand jury, but from what we've been able to gather from the footage and reports, things are looking in favor of Jose Alba, God willing. Joining me now to react, representing Georgia's 8th Congressional District, Congressman Austin Scott. Congressman, thank you for being with me. It is sad that we even have to cover this instance because this bodega clerk was clearly just defending himself, and obviously it resulted in this man's life being lost. That's tragic, but the guy did attack him. He got what's coming to him. He got what was coming to him. We could say that. But we live in an age of judicial activism, and so these activists, these woke DAs, are deciding that even if you defend yourself, you exercise your right to preserve your own life, you could go to jail for it.
Yeah, I saw this over the weekend, and it just kind of falls into the "you got to be kidding me" category. If the press reporting on it is accurate, as I understand it, the person's girlfriend left, and then he came back and attacked the man that was simply sitting there doing his job and working at the store. And, you know, people have a right to defend themselves. And unfortunately, you've got a DA who's a political activist and has brought charges. I understand that the original bail was set at $250,000, and it got dropped to $50,000. But you got an innocent person here who was attacked that engaged in self-defense, and they're going to end up with tremendous expenses just in protecting their own lives. So it's absolutely ridiculous, and these DAs need to be held accountable personally for some of their conduct.
And especially at a time when crime is so particularly rampant, Congressman, the fact that anyone who's putting a stop to a crime could be punished for it, that is the last thing we need in this day and age, is for good guys who put an end to a crime being punished. We have enough crime as is. We don't need to be throwing people in jail for mitigating that and for stopping that. And I want to turn to this. This is from the New York Post. It says a 15-year-old hip-hopper has been charged with murder in the fatal subway stabbing of a 14-year-old up-and-coming rapper in Manhattan, according to police and cops Sunday. This is teenagers who are acting this way, Congressman. It's getting younger and younger. A 15-year-old and a 14-year-old getting in a tangle-up, probably a turf battle, and it results in one of them being murdered. I have a clip that I want to show you that might espouse some wisdom as to why we're seeing this from such young ages. Let's look at this clip. So you see there, toddlers, I mean, these look like 5-year-olds who are hitting police officers, cursing them out. I mean, these kids know 8 words, and 4 of them are how to say F you and call an officer, all these provocative words. And it points to a problem we have with parenting, especially in cities like this, in cities where crime is so rampant, these inner cities. Parents are teaching toddlers how to beat up and try to assault police officers?
Well, I'll tell you, I've got a 4-year-old little boy, and there are a couple of things that come to mind. Number one, those kids are standing on the street with no clothes. All they have is diaper and underwear. There is what appears to be a teenager in the background that is encouraging this. This is not okay. And that child who's being encouraged to hate those police officers and carry out attacks on those police officers, I can tell you, if that continues to go undisciplined, that child will probably not live a long life. That child is going to be one of those people that unfortunately ends up probably dead. And so there are big issues here. There's societal issues here. It comes from the attack on our law enforcement officers. Those 2 law enforcement officers that are standing there accepting that abuse from that 5-year-old with that what appears to be a teenager in the background encouraging it. Those 2 law enforcement officers would lay down their lives for those kids, and then look how they're being treated by a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old. That's not natural. It's not natural for a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old to have that animosity towards our law enforcement. It's coming from this woke agenda that the police are the enemy that the Democratic Party keeps putting out there. And I can tell you, it's not okay. Our society is moving in the wrong direction because of it, and it's got to be corrected. And I think come November, the voters are going to correct a lot of it at the ballot box. And I'm proud of the voters and some of these even in these Democratic districts that have taken these district attorneys out of office that think violence is okay.
Yeah, kids learn from observing, Congressman. If you do something around a child and they see it, they're going to mimic that. They're going to copy that because they look up to people who are older than them. And so this is clearly these kids, either their parents, their brothers, their sisters, or people in their neighborhood, they have watched them be provocative to police officers, watched them attack police officers, watched how they talked and listened to how they talked about police officers. And as a result, you have kids who can barely speak, but they know how to assault police officers and disrespect our law enforcement. That is not the sign of a society that is heading in the right direction. That is not the sign of cities that are solving the crime problem, or a Democrat-run cities that have a grip on crime. That's a sign of cities run by Democrats who are only going to see more worse and worse crime in years to come. It's very, very sad to see that video. My heart breaks for those little kids because they are obviously set up.
It's not okay.
Yeah, they are obviously set up for a future.
It's not okay.
Go ahead, Congressman.
And I don't think it's okay to the majority of Democrats in this country either. I think the majority of Democrats in this country want the streets to be safe. They want their children to act in an appropriate manner. I don't think that 1 or 2 or 3% of the Democrats out there that watch that video think that that's okay. I think that they look at those children and they see a sad, sad story pushing out into the future with the way those kids are being raised. Democratic primary voters, I think the solution here is they've got to take these people out of office that are encouraging the rhetoric that is anti-law enforcement and allowing their kids to be raised this way.
Yeah, I do agree with you. Anyone across the board can look at that and notice there's a problem. Even Democrats can look at that video and notice there's a problem. The only question then is, are they willing to admit what the solution might be? Congressman, we're out of time.
That's
I really
right.
appreciate
That's
you.
absolutely right.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for joining the show, Congressman. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.